Welcome to a very different kind of explainer. Normally, we bring a lot of bright energy to unpacking the facts, but today, we're looking at something far darker. We're examining classified, unexplainable police records. These are the dark files, the cases that completely defy logic, break the rules of evidence, and leave seasoned, veteran investigators absolutely terrified. You know, have you ever wondered why some files just never see the light of day? It actually isn't because they're part of some ongoing, sensitive investigation. And it's not just because they're heavily classified either. The horrifying reality here is that they are hidden away because the officers who worked these cases themselves couldn't explain what they saw. They're buried because they literally break our understanding of reality. We are going to look at 5 distinct cases that were quietly locked away, 5 mysteries that remain completely unsolved to this day. So, I highly recommend you turn off the lights, get comfortable, and prepare yourself. Let's open the dark files.
Part 1. Vanished in the Dark. Outdoor Disappearances.
Take the deeply unsettling case of Officer Ryan Walker. Now, he was a veteran of the night shift, 7 years on the job, right? He thought he'd seen it all. But on one rainy October night, everything changed. It started with a 911 call from a woman living alone outside of town. The call lasted exactly 8 seconds. The operator heard heavy breathing and then a terrified whisper. "Someone is standing in my backyard." Officer Walker arrived 20 minutes later to an incredibly isolated property. No street lights, pitch black. The terrified woman told him a tall figure was watching her through the window. So Walker went out into the muddy yard, but he found absolutely nothing. I mean, zero evidence. No footprints in the mud, no signs of entry. The rain had washed away everything. But just as he was about to leave, his flashlight beam caught something in the trees. A silhouette, standing completely still, unmoving and clearly not human. Walker's body cam recorded him walking deeper into the woods, following the silhouette. Suddenly, the camera tilted upward. His breathing became incredibly rapid. Dispatch later reviewed the audio and heard Walker whisper exactly 4 words. "Why is it smiling?" Immediately after, there was a loud crash. The camera hit the ground, spinning sideways, and through the darkness, a pair of impossibly long legs stepped in front of the lens. Officer Ryan Walker was never seen again. But the darkness of the woods isn't the only place officers have vanished. On a deserted, freezing highway, Officer Michael Reed was on a winter storm patrol. Let's break down how incredibly fast this happened. At 2:47 a.m., everything is perfectly normal, just a routine radio update. But at 2:50 a.m., Reed reports seeing a child on the side of the freezing highway, completely alone, barefoot in the snow. Reed's body microphone captured him stepping out into the freezing wind. "Hey kid, are you okay?" he asked. Absolute silence. Then, Reed's voice changed to pure nervous fear as he whispered, "That's impossible." The microphone picked up rapid breathing, the crunch of footsteps moving backward, and then a blood-curdling scream. When backup arrived 20 minutes later, his car was sitting in the middle of the road, engine running, doors wide open, but there were 0 footprints in the snow. Part 2. Echoes behind closed doors. Indoor anomalies. Moving from the vast, dark woods, we find terror deep within seemingly empty rooms. 3. That is exactly how many years Apartment 7B had sat completely vacant. Yet, police kept receiving constant noise complaints from neighbors, screaming, moving furniture, footsteps. Officers Sarah Collins and Mark Lewis were dispatched to investigate another terrifying call of a woman crying for help from inside that very apartment. They unlocked the door to total darkness. Their flashlights revealed a floor entirely covered in a thick layer of dust. But right through that dust is a trail of fresh, bare footprints. The officers follow them. The prints lead directly into a bedroom and dead end right in the center of the room. No windows, no closets, no hidden exits. And right then, a woman began screaming directly behind the officers. They spun around, but the room was completely empty. They fled the building. But the true nightmare of this case was only discovered years later, when the building was eventually demolished. Workers tearing down the structure found dozens of old photographs hidden inside the actual walls of apartment 7B. Every single photograph showed the exact same woman, standing inside that apartment, staring dead into the camera.
We move now to Detective James Turner. He was working a completely unsolved missing college student case, bringing a suspect into a sealed interrogation room, 17. When audio experts enhanced the tape of that 6-hour interrogation, they found a secondary, impossible whisper on the recording exactly 17 times.
The whisper didn't belong to the detective, it didn't belong to the suspect, and it kept repeating the exact same phrase. "I'm behind him." Suddenly, the suspect stopped speaking entirely and just stared directly at an empty corner of the room for 30 agonizing seconds. When Detective Turner finally asked the suspect what on earth he was looking at in that empty corner, the suspect simply replied, "She won't stop staring at me." The victim's body was never found, the tape could never be explained, and the case remains completely unsolved to this very day. And this brings us to the final piece of evidence in our explainer. In 2018, an anonymous package was mailed to a small police department. No return address. Inside was just a single USB drive. Investigators plugged it into an isolated computer and found a video of an empty interrogation room. Suddenly, a terrified man entered the frame. The lights began to flicker and the man started begging for his life. As the man screams on the tape, the camera glitches for just a fraction of a second. In that split second, a tall, extremely thin, faceless figure appears right behind him. The video returns to normal, the figure is gone, and then